So, hello there and welcome back to Strathpeffer Junction. It has been a long time and I will explain some of what's been going on in another video, but the video that I've got right now is just to go over a new product that I have just released in my website shop. I'm going to do a proper video on this and explain the background to it and how it came about, and all the design process and stuff in due course. But for those of you who have already bought my new Hornby Ringfield motor adapter kits, I wanted to do a really quick video just to show you, what's in the kit and really quickly how you put the kit together. So it's not going to be a snazzily edited video today. It's literally going to be a talk through the kit and sticking it into a candidate bogie, which we've got here. So this is the kit. This is how it will arrive. Wee bag, label, all the normal stuff. And inside we have got the adapter, motor and some other gubbins. So I'll pop the actual kit to one side and I'll bring in the contents just so you can have a proper look here. So if any of you have used my Lima adapter kits, you'll know that it's all looking pretty similar, but there are some differences and there are some extra components in these Hornby kits as well. There we go, let's get it all in a shot there. So first of all, we've got the motor. These are pretty similar to the ones I've got in the Lima kits, but the shaft is a different length. We've got a wee bit of heat shrink tubing just for sealing over or covering over, insulating all of our joints. We have two gears. So again, we may need to trim gears down. In the Lima kits, you always have to trim the gear down, and in the Hornby kits, it totally depends on whether the gear snags on the chassis of your model. We have the adapter, and this is a two-part adapter. So we've got the main part here, and we've got a wee retainer for the motor. We have some clips. You only need to use two of these, but I've provided two different types of clips just to try to cover all bases. One of the real problems I had with the Hornby adapter design was that Hornby have got quite a lot of different variations of their Ringfield motor. While they look pretty much the same, there's actually some subtle differences. So two clips here to hold the adapter in, and you have a choice of which ones you use. The two plastic ones are generally the best and they'll fit in most situations, so I recommend you try them first. And we also have a motor insulator. Now, depending on what model you have, it is possible that you'll have pickups on the left and right track on the motor bogie, and that's an issue because it means that the chassis might be live, and that in turn might mean that the motor is live, and then the motor might, if you have a Coco or tender drive model, it might conflict with the central wheel and then cause a short. So I provide a little insulator here. It is a plastic sticker which has a little hole punched in the middle and fits exactly in the middle here. They were specially made for this, and that will make sure that once the motor is in the adapter and this is in place, then the motor itself is completely isolated. So that's a new thing as well. While you don't technically need it for every model, I suggest you stick it in to be on the safe side, and then you don't have to worry about it. So use it for everything, but it isn't technically needed for everything. Okay, so let's have a look at actually installing the adapter. Now, I have a totally stripped down bogie, or almost totally stripped down bogie, which was the one that I used for designing everything. I don't actually have another Hornby one at the moment that hasn't already been converted, so apologies, but what you want to do anyway is take the bogie out of your loco or your tender, if it's tender drive, strip all of the Ringfield gubbins out of it. So you don't need the faceplate, you don't need the armature, you don't need the brushes, you don't need the springs. You do need all these drive gears, so we'll just take these out just now. So we need the drive gears, we'll set them to one side. I do recommend always taking them out because they're actually pretty easy to break the teeth on them when you're doing things to the bogie, so it's be on the safe side. Plus, it's a good time to give them a wee clean and a lubrication. You will need to remove the pinion gear, which is on the armature on the Ringfield. On this one, I think I lost it actually. I took this bit ages ago. That can be a bit tricky, but if you have one of the older pinion gears, so it's got the thicker, I think it's probably about 2.5 or 3 millimeter shaft. The older gears, you don't need to keep that pinion gear, and the plastic ones that I provide in the kit are like for like. All but they're plastic. They're a like-for-like replacement. If you have one of the modern Ringfield or the more modern Ringfield motors, that have got a 2mm shaft and a small brass pinion gear. I think they're mainly the ones that were made in China, so if it was a pre-China one, you probably don't have to worry about that. But if you do have one of the newer ones with the small gear, which is a 2mm inside diameter, 2mm shaft diameter, you've got to keep that gear because you need to reuse it. It's a totally different size from the other ones, and there aren't plastic gears at the moment on the market that would fit that. So if you've got a newer one, then do keep that gear. Anyway, let's assume that you have completely stripped it back. You have just this bogie here. Now, the first thing that you need to decide to do is whether you want to take out the brass bushing that is in the middle here. Now, I took this one out a long time ago and I have lost it, and I also drilled out the middle here. But the great thing about my new kit is it means you don't have to drill out the bogie. And the good thing about that is if you've not drilled out the bogie, then you can replace the brass bushing, you can replace the motor armature, the Ringfield motor armature, and put it back to how it was. And it also makes it much simpler as well. You're not having to do any destructive intervention. But I do recommend that you pop out the brass bushing. The kit is designed so that in many circumstances you don't actually have to do it. The motor and the actual adapter, it's all adjustable, so it will accommodate them in most situations. But you can get a neater flusher fit, and you can avoid any possible potential of the new shaft rubbing on the old bushing if you take it out. So the written instructions that I've provided, you can download from the website. They show you how to do it, but basically you need to support the bogie. I use a couple of close pegs for that. You get a punch or a very small screwdriver would do as well, and you tap it a couple of times lightly and that bushing will pop out. And if you keep it, you can pop it back in again in the future if you want, and all you need to do is just a tiny little bit of super glue around it, just to pop it in and hold it in place, but it will work absolutely fine. Right, okay, enough jabbering away about stripping it down. We've got this done now, it's all stripped down, so what do we do? Right, well, the first thing that I recommend is that you get the insulating sticker, just so you don't forget. Just peel that off like this, and just stick it in. It is designed to be exactly the right size, so when you've stuck it in there, the wee hole will be in the middle there, and that is all that you need to do. You could stick it to the motor if you wanted, but the motor isn't flat, so it'll pucker up, so stick it to the inside. That's the best way to do it. So the next thing that we want to do is we want to take the actual adapter, the main part of the adapter, and fit that in. Now on these ones it's dead easy, you can get all the way around. On the tender drive chassis, they tend to be a wee bit thicker, and sometimes it's a little bit harder. You need to give it a wee bit more encouragement to fit in, but it shouldn't be too bad. So we just pop it into place like that. Now this one's pretty loose, probably because, in fact it's not that loose at all. This one is a little bit looser, probably because I've used this for lots of modifications and testing, but anyway, it sits in place like that. Next thing that we need to do is to get the motor. Now most of my kits have got motors with leads. Sometimes you might find that you get a motor that's got tabs here, in which case you don't have to worry about the wires at this point. But if you do have the leads, make sure you feed it through the holes at the top of the bogie there. Again, the written instructions show in detailed photos all of this stuff. And feed them through, and then just start feeding the motor in. Now don't push it all the way in, because if you push it all the way in, it makes it really hard to get the motor adapter in, or the retainer rather, which is the next step. What I normally suggest is you just seat it and no more, and then you get the retainer. Now there's two little sort of grooves or channels, and that's where the two legs of the retainer sort of slide in. So if you just position that on the top like that, get it into place, make sure the motor's all lined up, make sure the wires here are not going to snag, and then just push that in like that. Let's pull it out there. There we go. There we are, and that's it. Dead easy. So as you push it in, the retainer here clamps aside the motor, holds everything in tight, so this won't move at all, which is great. Holds it in there. Looking on the other side here is dead center. Now, Hornby have lots of variations of the Ringfield, as I say, they look pretty similar. Sometimes you might find that this shaft is very slightly off centre. Now that doesn't matter, because the gear that I have provided is a 10-tooth gear, which is one less teeth than the one that comes with that. And the reason I've done that is it just provides a little bit more scope. If that isn't totally dead center, it doesn't matter and the teeth won't bind. But anyway, in this case it is totally dead center, and that is fine. Now what you may also find, as we have done in this case, is that once the motor is pushed in and the retainer is in, that will hold the whole retainer, the whole adapter solid, and it'll not come out. And that's brilliant. But sometimes you might find it's a wee bit loose, and that's where these two wee clips come in. So you just take these clips, again, I recommend you start with a plastic clip, take the wee clip and just pop it over this pin like that. It'll click on, and then just spin it round slightly like that, just so it's out the road and nothing snags. So again, we come round to the other side to this little post or lug there, and we get the clip. You'll notice one side of the clip has a flat side and the other has a little step up, just to give you something to grip on, really. So the flat side down. So on this one again, we just pop that clip on like that. There we are, clip, and then rotate it round. And that will hold, as long as you make sure they're pushed down flush against the face, that'll hold the adapter in. It's not going to come out at all. That's brilliant. Now, the reason why I produce the metal ones is that some of the variations of Ringfield that Hornby made, they have quite slim, or rather short pegs, and these plastic clips don't always have quite enough peg to grip onto. So you might find in that sort of situation that these steel clips are a wee bit better, that they might grip because they don't need so much peg to grip onto. However, they're a little bit more tricky to put on, and I'm looking around the table here, I can't find on my workbench my needle nose pliers. But anyway, you need needle nose pliers really to get these on. You need to pop it in from that side so it just starts to grip, and then get the pliers on top and clip it down like that. It's easy once it starts going, but sometimes it can be a wee bit fiddly just to get it going. But again, the instruction booklet shows you exactly how to do that. So we'll pop these wee clips aside anyway, we don't need these ones. But anyway, that is the adapter and the motor completely fitted in. What we need to do now is turn our attention to the gears. Now on this side, yeah, we'll pop the pinion gear on first. And again, the reason that I like to do that is just to avoid any potential for cracking or chipping away any of the teeth on the drive gears. But what we need to do anyway is probably 8 out of 10 times you're going to have to cut this gear down. So it's a bit like the Lima kit, and the reason for that is, even though it doesn't snag and you can easily pop it on there and it's fine, on some of the chassis, if you're going around a corner, the bogie kicks out the back here, and the back of that gear will catch on the chassis of the loco or the body. It happens on the Class 91, I think, on the HST. So you need to cut this down anyway to 4 mils wide will be fine. It's not absolutely precise. It doesn't have to be exactly 4 mils. I wouldn't go any less than 4 mil, but cut it down to 4 mil. Now, there's two ways you can do that. One way you can do it is with some very sharp and very fine wire cutters. Everything you do has to be sharp, and just pop them into the jaws like that, and then clamp down, and it'll probably ping off, but you'll find that it'll cut it fairly easily. And then you just need to get a craft knife and just trim and neaten off that edge so it's fairly flat. Now, not everyone will have a good pair of very sharp and narrow wire cutters. So the other way to do that, and probably the easiest to be honest, is to use a Stanley knife. And just be very careful when you're doing this, because Stanley knives are sharp and you really need a really sharp blade for doing this. So I normally just hold something that I can get in close, like a wee screwdriver, without having to put my finger right next to it, and then just push down. Now, with the small gear for the Lima, a wee seesaw motion works quite well. Doesn't work quite so well with this one, but just keep applying force, keep rolling it a little bit, and oh, there we go. Eventually you'll get through. So it's not that hard. And then actually this one's almost all right as it is. But if there's a wee bit that's uneven, just take the knife and just, there we are. That's it. Just neaten it up. And Bob's your uncle, that gear is ready to go. So all we need to do then is just to pop this gear onto there. There we are, brilliant. And you want this gear to line up with the center line of where the pinion, where the drive gears will be, just so that it meshes. Brilliant. And then we will replace the gears. So let's put one in here. Sorry, this is a proper monologue, this one, of me just constantly talking, but I don't have time tonight to edit a video, unfortunately, so we're just doing one not live stream type of thing. Okay, so that's the gears back on there, and we shall pop on the wee retainer. There we are, it's on one side. This is probably the most fiddly part of the entire process. There we go. Excellent. Brilliant. So that's it, done. And what I like to do here is just to roll the wheels backwards and forwards, make sure that everything's moving. If you do find that it's not smooth or something's snagging, firstly, check that all the gears are right, that you've got them in the right position. Check that there's enough overlap of the pinion gear so that it's engaging all the way around. And also check that the shaft is center. Now, as I say, on this one, it is dead center, it's spot on. It can be probably up to maybe half a mil one way or the other, and it won't really matter. If it's over about half a mil, then what you'll need to do is try and adjust the back of the adapter. Now, it's not quite as easy to adjust these adapters as it is with the Lima ones, but what you can do is to take it all out, just shave off a tiny little bit of plastic from the two sort of alignment holes here, and that'll give you a little bit of play. I designed in a little bit of scope for play, but if you are more than about a millimeter, more than half a mil, more than a millimeter away from the center, there's something seriously wrong, and I don't know how you'd have got there. But anyway, that is, let's just check everything. Yeah, that is literally it. That is this motor now completely converted and ready to go. It's that simple. There's no waiting on glue. If you want to replace this, if you've ruined the motor or something's gone wrong with it, it's dead simple. You just take that gear off and pop it out. You don't even need to take out the main part of the adapter to do it. You just need to take that retainer off. The easiest way to do it is to pop the pinion gear off and then push it from this side, and it'll slowly come out. Now, that is how you do it generally, but one of the great things about this adapter is that for Coco or tender drive locos, you've got a central wheel and you've got a mini axle, and there has not been any easy solution for getting that back onto the loco. So some people have stuck it to the back of the motor, some people have stuck it to the fascia on the bogie with all the fake axle boxes and brakes and suspension and so on. Some people have filed it down so it doesn't snag and break the super glue that they've stuck to it. Anyway, lots of different ways of doing it, which were the best that you could do at the time, but this adapter solves all of that. There is a little hole there for the for that axle to go in. So we'll just quickly pop everything back off here, and again, let's take that out. Never work on live TV. Let's go for a slightly bigger screwdriver. Okay, so we're back. I've stripped it all back down again. Just one wee thing on these plastic clips, actually. Sometimes it can be a wee bit fiddly if you're trying to get them off, but if you have a tiny wee jeweler's screwdriver like that and you just pop it into the little groove at the top and pull it, they'll pop off easily. Right, so we've got the bogie stripped back, and we've got one of these tender drive or class 37s, class 47s with the central wheel. So all you need to do is, once you've stripped this bogie back, you've taken all the Ringfield gubbins off it, keep the little axle, and you'll see that in the adapter there is a little hole there that you can pop it in. This bit can be a little bit fiddly. A little bit fiddly, he says. Really fiddly. It's oh, there we go, it's dead easy. Once you get it in the slot, it's it's really easy to get it in. Anyway, so it'll go in there. There's a little depression, so it will sit flush. Do this right at the beginning. The reason I didn't do it earlier on in the video is I thought I'll not confuse it, I'll keep it generic, but actually it would have been much easier to do it at the beginning. So anyway, so make sure that is on, and then when you go to that step where you pop the faceplate on, you put the insulator in there, pop that on, it'll pop in there. There we go, and it's held in place nicely. So then we'll just get the motor again. I'll go through these steps as a wee refresher. There we go. So we pop that on again. Again, can't stress enough how important it is to make sure these leads don't get snagged. There's some sharp, well, not sharp edges, but some right angle edges there, which will just cut away the wires if you're not careful. So we've got all that lined up. We just press that in. There we go. Bob's your uncle, that's it in place. We can pop that gear on this side again. I do recommend that you do this without these drive gears, but just for speed. Okay, that's it in place. Pop these clips back on again. There we are, turn it round. Clip it on. Turn it round. Easy peasy. Right, and there we go. So you should hopefully be able to see there, we've got the cast axle on that side and we've got the new axle on that side. So we can pop that wheel on there, that wheel on there, and if you've got the plastic fascia, pop that on and that'll lock these two wheels into place. Now, just one thing to mention on this is that I designed it so the axle is very, very slightly higher than the ones on either side. And the reason for that is I have had to try to accommodate every possible variation or manufacturing tolerance issue. And what I didn't want to happen was that for this axle to be too low and the bogie then to seesaw over like that, it wouldn't run very well and there might be issues with connectivity. So it's very, very slightly higher, but it's imperceptible. When it's on the track, when you've got the fascia on, you don't notice it at all. But just if you're eyeballing it like this, you might think, that wheel is slightly higher, but hey, you won't notice it. But that's it. Dead easy, great way to get that on. Yeah, I mean, I'm really happy with this. It's taken me 8 months plus to develop this, loads of testing. A few folks out there have helped me out as well. Some random people, not friends, not people I know, so it was all impartial and objective, who've given it a test run and make sure they've got a product here that works well and solves a few of the problems. So there are some other things to think about, and that's all in the instruction manual. So I do encourage you to have that with you and to read each step before you do the step. There's other things in the adapter like this functionality here for if you have pickups on this side to put the pickups back on and stuff, but it's all explained in the manual, and I'll do a proper video which is less rushed, not as garbled and slightly more structured at some point in the not too distant future. But anyway, that's all I'll say for now. If you've got any problems with this kit or any queries or questions, drop me a line at the email address on my website or a message, comment in the comment section below. But anyway, all that remains to be said for this video is thanks very much for watching. Sorry it's been so long since my last one. I hope to be back soon. And cheerio for now. Bye-bye.